Hey, what's going on? It's your boy back at you with another video. So, uh, the trade between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Jazz is dead, as Bojan Bogdanovic was traded to the Detroit Pistons. And that's what I'm going to report. So, I think this is a steal for the Pistons because he's a great shooter. And another attempt for the Lakers to try to trade Russell Westbrook, which they are just highly, very unhappy with. And I'm going to say this, man, that these trades that y'all praying to happen, that it's just not going to happen. And I'm sorry that I don't want y'all to think that, oh, Dame is a hater. Nah, Dame not a hater. Dame being realistic. That the Lakers are going to have to win with what they have. And let's face it, Russell Westbrook is not happy in Los Angeles, which um, he has a right not to be happy. They have treated this man like pure garbage. And I understand he didn't play very well, but the team last year was one of the worst rosters in the NBA. You have Anthony Davis, and I'm going to repeat this, that last season was not Russell Westbrook's fault. Okay? It was not his fault. You guys can sit around and make a lot of excuses. But the real problem was LeBron James missing 25 games. The real problem is that LeBron James doesn't hustle on defense. That's the problem. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. He's always hurt. I don't understand why they're not trying to trade Anthony Davis and see what you can get for him. I just don't understand. I do not understand it. That this just something that you guys just don't want to hear. That the trade, even if you did get Bogdanovic, but Bojan doesn't play defense. He's not a great defender. So either way, you still was going to lose in this trade anyway. The point I'm trying to make is that y'all have to accept the truth that the whole team failed last year. It wasn't just Russell Westbrook. Bron cared about scoring and stat padding than he cared about the team. He cared about the scoring record. He didn't care about winning. Those 2 games the Lakers needed, he did not play. Made up all these fake injuries because he didn't want to play the bigger centers, right? Dwight Howard was a shell of himself last year. Carmelo Anthony, not the same player, not the same impact. Defense was the problem last year. Getting out hustled was the problem last year. And on top of that, Malik Monk had the best year of his career, and y'all let him walk. How dumb can you be? Either way, you were screwed with this trade because then you don't play. Bogdanovic doesn't play the defense, and that's the problem. They don't play defense. But you continue to keep throwing Russell Westbrook under the bus. You continue to keep making excuse after excuse after excuse. When are you going to stop making excuses? That it wasn't really Russell Westbrook's fault. And if you want to trade him, okay, then just be honest. I ain't going to be on this long. But let's say they do trade Russell Westbrook. What excuse they going to have next year when they fail? Because it's always an scapegoat. They just can't the Lakers just can't look at themselves in a mirror as an organization and say, look, we failed together. The whole team was terrible last year. They had one of the worst rosters in the NBA. You can't fault Russell Westbrook. He had nothing to work with. You can't blame this on him. But nobody talks about Anthony Davis getting hurt. He missed 45 games last year. I made a video a few days ago where he has missed 78 games. Well, he's missed what? He missed what? 82 games within 2 years. I think no, 78 games. My bad. Correct me. I'm correct. Excuse me. He missed 78. He has missed 78 games the last 2 seasons, and ain't nobody said nothing about this. But y'all continue to keep making excuses. And I understand that maybe Russell Westbrook shooting was a problem. That his turnovers was a problem. But a lot of it was not his fault. It's a okay, what I don't understand about this, right? You want to trade this guy, right? But in Washington, they were in the playoffs a year before that. He was in the playoffs. Am I correct? He led the NBA. He averaged a triple double in 2021. An assist, 20 points, 10 rebounds. But he comes to LA and struggles. You know, it's not him, it's the team. But y'all don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear it. Y'all just going to continue to keep making excuses. And I understand that, the trade, let's just keep it real. We're going to be honest. Let's keep it real. I understand that, the Russell Westbrook trade talk, it's a way to to get the views and tell people what they want to hear. But that's just not going to work. That's the problem with you Laker fans. That you guys want people to tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. I understand that you got your GOAT, your king, but yet he's the greatest player of all time. And I keep saying it again, that 3 out of the last 4 years, the Lakers haven't been past the second round. Being mediocrity. Y'all. So he's the king for being mediocre. You accept mediocrity, right? They didn't make the playoffs last year. And the NBA opened up 2 slots so teams can get into the playoffs. And they couldn't make a 10th seed. But Bron doesn't get no blame for this, right? Nobody says nothing. No hate, no nothing. Since he's been in LA, they've only been past the second round 1 time. Outside of that championship in 2020, what has he done in Los Angeles? But y'all refuse to answer me. You want Russell Westbrook, fine. You don't want him, you don't want him. But they got to accept this as a team. There's a team game why they lost last year. Not because of Russ. Everywhere Russ has been, he's been in the playoffs. But all of a sudden, he gets to the Lakers. Now he's the worst thing in the world. Because everybody is not, because see, Bron is used to having shooters. Everybody can't just stand in the corner and jack up 3-pointers all day long. Everybody can't do that. Everybody just can't play with LeBron James. Because why is it that players that struggle, why is it that Brandon Ingram, y'all call him a bum, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But he went somewhere else. He became an all-star. He became a vital piece to a team that's on the rise in New Orleans. Am I correct? They pushed at the time the Western Conference champs to 6 games last year. Am I correct? Jordan Clarkson struggled with LeBron. When he went to the Utah, he became the 6th man of the year. Am I correct? Everybody just can't play with LeBron James. Everybody struggles with Bron, but when they go somewhere else, they become an all-star. This man was an all-star. This man is still a Hall of Famer, whether you want to accept it or not. It's not all on him. It's the team. It's the coaching. But nobody wants to talk about this. The guy that y'all kiss his ass every day, and you couldn't even make the playoffs last year. This team was terrible last year. They were terrible. You're so desperate to trade him to just make a bunch of excuses. I'm gonna continue to keep saying the same thing. The key to this team, whether you trade Russell Westbrook, you can trade him all you want. But let's hear the truth. Bron has to play defense. Bron, every time he doesn't get a foul, he pouts. And he'll sit and argue with the referee for 10 seconds. And by the time he's arguing, he's not concentrating on defense. The other team is already down the court, getting an easy layup. Setting up easy layup because he keeps complaining about not getting fired, not getting calls to the referee. I need Anthony Davis to stop being so soft, and I need him to hustle. I need him to play more games than just sitting on the sidelines, because what good is he doing you? You can blame Russ all you want to. The key to this thing, and I'm going to say this, Bron at his older age can't lead this team to a championship anymore at 38 years old. Anthony Davis, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to continue to keep saying the same thing, that if Anthony Davis doesn't stay healthy, this team is going nowhere, no matter whether Russell Westbrook is there or not. And I'm going to say this, I want them to trade Russell Westbrook. I want them to trade Russell Westbrook. So when he gets traded and the Lakers fall on their face next season, I don't want to hear no excuses. Because all you guys do is just make a bunch of excuses, man. Anthony Davis missed 45 games last year. Nobody said nothing. Nobody says nothing about it. Why are they not trying to trade him? He's the problem. I don't care about him being an all-star and all of that. I don't care about that. I understand it, man. I understand. Bogdanovich, he wasn't going to change much anyway. Yeah, he's a good shooter. But on defense, who's going to play defense? Who's going to play defense, man? Bron ain't going to play defense. Can you imagine Bron and Bogdanovich on the floor at the same time? Yeah, it's great scoring. I mean, yeah, like this, there's an old saying. That offense sells tickets, but defense wins Larry O'Brien trophies. You can't stop nobody. Anthony Davis is not a great defender. I get it that you need more shooting, but don't you need defense? You trade Russell Westbrook. Okay, let's trade Russell Westbrook, right? Who you got? Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverley? They're very inconsistent shooters. They can shoot the three ball. But the Patrick Beverley 5 years ago, he's not the same Patrick Beverley was 5 years ago. He's a 34-year-old point guard. But you trade him away for Stanley Johnson, a 26-year-old Stanley Johnson and a 22-year-old or 21-year-old Tyler Horton Tucker. How smart was that? These guys are young. But see, that's the Laker problem. They have no patience. They have no patience. They want to win and win now. You're not winning now. They don't want to rebuild. I know y'all ain't trying to hear me. The Lakers, that's their problem. You run away all your draft picks. For what? For that one chip. Was it really worth all of this? for a 34-year-old, Patrick Beverly. It just doesn't make, this team doesn't make sense. You trade, you sign Dennis Schroeder, a guy who disappeared in the playoffs a few years ago against the Phoenix Suns. But you sign him, right? You guys just don't make sense. You guys continue to keep making excuses, and you're going to continue to keep losing. And I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I don't care if people want to get mad. I don't care. That it just doesn't make sense. You're going to trade two young guys for old Patrick Beverly, who's inconsistent, who's all bark, no bite. All he does is talk. That's all he does is talk. He talks. He talk a good game. But sometimes in games, he disappears. I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all hate me. And I love you. But I got to tell you the truth that Russell Westbrook is not the problem. You can trade him, and they're still going, though. Even if you trade him, who's going to play point? Dennis Schroeder? Guy who disappears? Or Patrick Beverly, a 34-year-old point guard that's past his prime? They give you a little bit of defense here and there, but he's not the same player anymore. Then I heard somebody, I looked at a video the other day talking about, is Russ open to come off the bench? Are you kidding me? An all-star point guard to come off the bench? Are you serious? The year before that, he averaged a triple-double for a whole season, and he comes off the bench? Are you serious? Man, you guys just continue to make excuses. Just continue to keep making all these excuses. And that's all I got to say. So, Bojan Bogdanovic traded to the Detroit Pistons. So that trade between Utah and the Lakers are dead. It's dead. And I don't really think he would have helped the Lakers anyway because he doesn't play defense. Why do you think the Utah Jazz traded him? Because he don't play defense. That was the problem with the Utah Jazz last season. Nobody played defense. And that's why they was terrible. Utah Jazz was a terrible defense. They were terrible defensively on the perimeter. And that's why they got sent home. They got sent home last year. Am I correct? Bogdanovic, he wouldn't have been any help. He might have scored, but he don't play defense. You guys can hate Russ all you want, but it wasn't his fault. So let me ask you something. If I get off this video, you tell me if AD would have played 45 games, we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? Why y'all don't say nothing about Anthony Davis missing all those games? He's supposed to be in his prime, and he can't play. He can't play 50 games. He's always hurt. Y'all don't say anything about that. But that's just my 2 cents. That's all, deuces.